Welcome to another episode of Balancing Acts. I'm your host, Linda Hamilton, a CPA and certified exit planning advisor, and the founder of the Grow Profit Scale signature program. This show is dedicated to helping you grow a profitable, resilient business. While constantly balancing priorities for your time and money, we want to help you succeed so that your business can thrive. We have a very special guest with us today, Dr. Luzelena Rivers. She was born in Colombia and crossed the border into the U.S., thrust into a new environment, a new language, a new culture. It was very difficult to succeed in the beginning. Today, she's an international speaker, has won numerous awards, does so much community service, and her company, Amera Solutions, provides ambulatory transportation for post-anesthesia patients. And that is really something we're going to talk about quite a bit today. Welcome, Dr. Rivers.
Well, welcome. Thank you for having me. I feel so humbled to be here with you and to just share space with you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, and I can't wait to talk to you about your business. So can you tell us a little bit first about your background and how you identified the need for ambulatory transportation? I've heard you say it's not ride sharing, but ride caring.
It is. It's not ride sharing because we have so many ride shares, right? But I wanted to really solve a problem that I noticed in the medical transportation. And I wanted to make sure that it was just not solved, but that we did it with a lot of care. And so what happened is, a little bit about my background. I was born in Colombia, like you said. And when we were here in the United States, I had to learn the culture. I had to learn the language. I had to adapt to so many different things. But I was young, so I was able to do that. In my family, there's a lot of entrepreneurs. Like any Latino that comes to this country, they try to find a way to, provide for their families. Some start businesses, even from the flea market, right? So as I was growing, I knew that I had that entrepreneurship spirit, but I knew that I wanted to do it differently so that I could scale. I'm not sure how I thought that was going to happen, but I knew that I wanted to have something different and bigger. So I identified a problem back in 2012 where someone I happened to answer the phone call, and it was a gentleman who said, listen, I'm needing medical transportation, which at that time we were doing medical transportation, but not specifically day surgery using nurses as drivers, typical like Uber. So when I listened to his problem, he goes, this is my situation. I don't need help. I don't need anything. I just have a procedure coming up tomorrow, and I just found out that I cannot take Uber or Lyft. So is this something you can help me? And somebody needs to sign me out. And I put him on pause, and I said to myself, I don't know how to help him. But then right away I said, yeah, let me see what I can do. So I called a nurse friend of mine, and I said, hey, Susan, are you available tomorrow? Are you free? She said, I am. And I said, could you get your car washed, clean, and pick up this patient for me? And she said, I'm not understanding what I'm doing, but I'll do it for you. So it turns out that I took his credit card and I charged him. I don't remember what I charged him, but it was a good number. I was like, I don't know how much to charge, but I know this is very unique, so I'm going to charge him a little bit more just because I want Susan to get paid. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to see how I can help him. I was there to help him.
Yes. That
became a business. It was so successful that I looked at it and I said, there's an opportunity here, obviously, and this gentleman did not find the solution. We're the solution. So right away, as a entrepreneur woman, I started calling nurses and asking them, hey, would you be available to do a Uber style, pick up patients for day surgery? And then I did the market research. I went to many physicians and I said, well, what's your pain in your career? Well, I have cancellations. I just want to stay in the ER. I just want to do procedures all day. I don't want to hear that I don't have procedures that morning. And there's a problem, cancellation. So long story short, here it is. This is Amera. We are headquarters here in Houston, Texas, and we're all over the United States with over 3,000 nurses to serve our American people that need the help.
That is a really valuable service, having many times myself needed transportation and been unwilling to ask because I'm very independent and I'm very busy, and I just don't like asking for favors.
Exactly. I know a lot of people just don't want to bother their loved ones, or they have careers like you, Linda. people that travel like you. And so when they have to go to the doctor and the doctor says, this is the procedure, we have to do it, you don't want to sit there and wonder who you're going to call or family members you're going to, ask them for help. You don't want that. And you want to kind of move that quickly out of the to-do list because you got to get back to work. So we wanted to make sure that you had a phone or an app to download, call us or download us, get your transportation ready to go, take care of it, and then you're done. And so what more than the nurses come because we believe in the what we're doing here. We believe in the anxiety that it takes on your body and on your mind the day before. We don't want a civilian picking you up. We don't want an Uber, a Lyft, a taxi. We wanted to make sure that we understood your needs and how frustrating it is the night before to prep your body. And what better than to have a nurse sign you out and take you home?
That's even better than a family member who knows nothing about it.
Sometimes.
So, interesting, oftentimes you'll hear other gurus, coaches, podcasts talking to people who want to start a business, and it's go with your passion. What's your passion? But you mentioned that, you wanted to find out, is this a good idea? How did you kind of validate? You've grown Amera.
Yeah.
First you got it to $1 million, which so few businesses make it to. How did you validate the idea over time that said, I've got this to get to $1 million?
I think this is what I think. I think a lot of entrepreneurs in heart, they want to solve a problem. However, they're not really doing the research in the market of what this is. They don't follow the trend of where it's growing. And I think that the idea comes to a lot of us at some point and we look at it like, oh, that's a good idea. But if we did our research and our homework, we would avoid ourselves a lot of time and money by making sure that this is something that's scalable. Who is your competitor? What does the industry say? How big is this industry and how fast is the industry growing? And I did that homework. I guess because I'm in school and I believe that combining both education and the spirit of entrepreneurship is where the magic is. Mm-hmm. And so I started doing a lot of research, and that's what I would tell someone who comes to me and says, well, I have an idea. Ideas are great. Execution is important, but research is even more important because you want to pre-plan, same as, you're a CPA, pre-plan what you don't know so that you can have a better outcome, right? Exactly. So researching is key.
Exactly. Thank you for that. So, very few businesses get to $1 million. And if we walk back, if you think in that first year, were there any pivotal moments that actually changed the trajectory of your business? Or did you rapidly go from startup right to having a very full business?
It's a very interesting question, Linda, because again, back to my degree and research. My dissertation as a doctoral, my dissertation that I chose was the entrepreneurship of Latino health market in the United States. And what I realized is that Latino businesses in the United States are growing in rapid numbers, right? But here's the deal. They're not getting to $1 million, like you asked me. How do you get to $1 million? I get that question all the time. How do you get to $1 million? What did you do? Well, here's the deal. A lot of companies, there's about 47 between the years of 2002 and 2017, Latino companies grew by 47%. From their counterparts, they grew a lot. The other companies were growing at a 3% rate. Latinos were growing, but they're not passing the 1 million. And the reason is because there's not a lot of resources or education out there. They don't know how to network. You got to learn how to network. You got to know how to leverage networking. You have to know your financial numbers. And you're actually you're an expert at that, right? So we need to find people like Linda who's going to say, okay, these are my numbers. What can you educate me in this financial, paperwork that I need to know? And a lot of entrepreneurs, we know profit and we know cost, right? But do we know EBITDA? Do we know EBITDA? Do we know net profit? Do we know, the cost of certain things, the net profit, all of that, those detailed numbers that we can look at in a healthy way and we can understand our numbers. You have to know your numbers. Right. So a lot of Latinos are missing that part, that educational financial literacy part. They're missing the part, they have the resilience, right? They have they don't know how to build relationships with bankers. That's another problem.
Right. And we're going to talk more about that in the next segment. Before we end up, just, when you first started, besides research, you often need some support. You might not know how to do the research or what to research. you know, there are organizations like NAWBO for women business owners. There are chambers of commerce, and our audience is both male and female business owners who want to be successful. What would you recommend early on for finding help and support?
What would I recommend? There are free programs like the Goldman Sachs. There's free programs like the Stanford for Latinos that already reached 1 million and want to scale. There's the SBA that has a lot of workshops. But then inside of our organizations like Enterprising Women, like WPO, like Pinnacle, there's a lot of organizations that you have to identify what they offer. And some of them are free. You have to identify where those workshops are, those free workshops. And also your banker, having a relationship with your banker, they'll tell you where those workshops are. And sometimes they'll sponsor you for those workshops.
That's great. And so we're going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some common challenges and mistakes that business owners make as they're growing.